Hey everybody, welcome to week 12 of the NFL. In this video, I'll be going over each and every game from week 12 on all the games that are played after Thanksgiving Day. Those are the games on Sunday and Monday. If you want to hear my analysis, my predictions for the Thursday games, check out this video above. Otherwise, stay right here and hear what I have to say for these games occurring later in the week. Big announcement for Prize Picks. As always, they're going to match up your deposit up to $100 if you use that code PROPICKS there in the left. But for this Thursday, if you're thinking about signing up and want a little bit more push over the edge, if Josh Allen throws for a single yard this game, you're going to win your bet. You're going to win your money up to $25. So let's say hypothetically you throw in $25 here in Prize Picks to try it out. Use the code PROPICKS. They're going to match the deposit. Now you got $50, and then you throw some money on Josh Allen, throw $25 for Josh Allen to throw for 1 yard. Now you're at $75. Boom, you just tripled your money just like that, risk-free because of the matching your deposit with the promo code and this great Josh Allen passing yard prop. So you're definitely going to want to sign up for Prize Picks. If you've been thinking about it, use our code PROPICKS. It's great because it's legal in all the states where gambling is already legal, but even those that where gambling is not, because it's daily fantasy. So if you're in Texas, California, North Carolina, Florida, so many other states, you can also sign up for this too and take advantage of this offer. We always talk about the flex play and power play, but the real value right here is that Josh Allen prop that they're doing for Thanksgiving this week. Again, use the code PROPICKS to get the deposit match as well. Just a reminder too, if you're interested in betting, check out our betting videos each week. We're doing really well this week if the Giants cover, which is looking to be close. I'm hoping they lose this game by exactly 10 points. That'll be a pretty good week for us, and we'll surpass 30 units on the year across all of our bets across all sports, but definitely looking at that if you're looking to dabble into the NFL and other sports betting scenes. Here's one of my favorite games this week with the Titans coming on the Patriots. Titans, who were red hot, just lost to the really poor Houston Texans, and the Patriots are now the hottest team in football, now the leaders of the AFC East, looking really good and looking unstoppable with that defense, which I predicted a long time ago this season is the top unit in the NFL. I got a lot of slack for that when I said it, but I stand by it, and I think it's coming to fruition now. Big thing, this Patriots on a roll. Titans are trending so much downward just because of injuries. All of their playmakers on both sides of the ball are dropping like flies. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown with a rib injury now in this week. Derrick Henry off this season. Some key guys on their defense too, like Simmons and other players that are key to that pass rush are getting hurt. That's not a good spot to be in, especially when you're going traveling to Foxborough where Bill Belichick is a mastermind tactician on the defense, and he's going to make you play to your weaknesses rather than play to your strengths. I think that this really good Patriots defense is going to take away every passing option that the Titans have. They're going to force Adrian Peterson and that O-line to beat him, which is not going to happen with this Tennessee team with how good this Patriots defense is playing, in addition to how good their offense is playing. Really like the Patriots -6 here. And I'm not going to count out Mike Vrabel and his ability to win close games, especially games he shouldn't win. He's a very good coach in his own right. Obviously not the stage that Belichick is, but he is a Belichick disciple and one of the better head coaches in the league, in my opinion. I think he's going to find a way to keep the Titans somewhat in the game despite all the injuries to his team. And for that reason, and again, how good the Patriots defense has been playing, I like the under in this game as well. Here's a game that nobody wants to watch, but the Jets playing the Texans in Houston, two of the worst teams in football right now. Even despite that Texans win against the Titans, I'm not really buying into them. More of a fluke win coming off a bye week. Although that being said, I think they're going to try to keep that momentum going. I certainly trust Tyrod Taylor and some of the playmakers on that Texans offense more than I do Joe Flacco, who's pretty washed up at this point. I think if I had to pick anything, I would lean the Texans win this game just because they're at home. The Jets don't seem like they really are interested in winning any football games anytime soon. For some reason, the Texans are still competing. And, I got to love that. Both these are two rookie head coaches here. It seems like maybe the Texans are buying into their coach more than the Jets are. I don't know. I wouldn't really touch this game betting-wise anyways, but if I had to lean one way, I'd say the Texans in a game that I will not be watching at all unless it's on red zone here and there every time there's a turnover in this game. Battle of NFC East rivals with Philly, who's been pretty good lately, taking on the Giants, who are looking like they're going to get beat by the Buccaneers, to no surprise to almost anybody. But I do think that the Giants have been competing, and it looks like they are competing against the Buccaneers. It's tough to beat Tom Brady when he's coming off 2 straight losses, a lot of time to game plan against against the Giants. That's just not going to be a win for them. But I am seeing good things from the Giants lately in terms of just competing and getting healthy, using their deep wide receiving core. They don't have a ton of talent, but they have a lot of promise there. And Saquon Barkley coming back. The Eagles are playing a lot better, and they're really starting to figure it out. I just think at home for the Giants, they're due for a win. There's always crazy things that are happening in the NFC East. It doesn't really ever make sense. It seems year after year. So I think I like the Giants +3 here. I think they're going to win the game outright just because for pure fact that I think they're due. Doesn't always have to be an exact science of football, and it rarely ever makes logical sense. But I think in this one, the Eagles are hot, but I don't think they're a great team. So I don't think that hotness and that role that they're on is really going to carry forward. I just think the Giants are due. They're going to play this game really tough, really gritty game. They might not win, but I sure like +3 here at home against the divisional opponent. Buccaneers are coming off 2 straight losses. Like I said, looking like they're going to beat the Giants in Monday Night Football. And the Colts, who've been pretty hot themselves, who just dismantled the Bills, who many people think to be one of, if not the best team in the AFC. I really like the Buccaneers here, even on the road. I know the Colts have been pretty impressive lately, but you got to remember, this is Tom Brady, this is the Buccaneers, and they're doing the same thing that they did the last year. If you remember, the Buccaneers did not start out very hot in that NFC South 1 year ago when they won the Super Bowl, but after week 10, week 11, when they had their bye week, they really started to figure out and put things together. And I think that's a big or largely attributable to Tom Brady and his attitude for competing strong and staying hot throughout the end of the season, rolling into the playoffs. Yeah, I think this team's going to do what they did last year and just keep dominating second half of the season, get hot, roll into the playoffs, get a 1 seed, and try to make it another Super Bowl run. As Tom Brady goes for, I think, 8 rings now? Anyways, like I said, there's not too much analysis. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, it's tough to stop that guy. He looks unreal right now, but if anyone could do it, it's the Buccaneers secondary. I just think that the Bucs are getting hot at the right time, just like they did last year. I think that's kind of their MO right now, and I'm going to keep running with that. It's the Buccaneers only got to win by 3 points here. I like that. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to do it by more than 3, just because I think that locked in Tom Brady, how can Carson Wentz compete with that, especially if the Buccaneers are going to be able to at least limit Jonathan Taylor with their great defensive front seven. Another football game that I will barely be watching with the Falcons playing the Jaguars. 2 of these teams that looked horrible in both their games this last week, with the Falcons getting shut out and a complete inability to block that Patriots defense, and the Jaguars, who got absolutely destroyed by the 49ers at home. I really don't have much to say about this game. The one thing I can think of, you saw how poorly the Falcons did a job of protecting Matt Ryan and his injuries. The Jaguars do have players like Josh Allen and other guys in their front seven that can get after the quarterback. Personally, I think with these 2 teams are so bad, they're so unpredictable, you never know what's going to happen. I'm taking the Falcons -1 for the sure fact that they are coming off a longer week playing Thursday Night Football. They got a little bit extra time to rest in a game plan against the Jaguars, and that is the only reason I'm liking them -1. I don't like either of these 2 teams in the game. I don't want to watch this game. I don't really want to talk about this game. If I were you, I wouldn't place your money anywhere near this game or any of these games where 2 really bad opponents are facing off. Again, look at this. Another game that's favored by 1 point, basically a coin flip game. You got Cam Newton, the Panthers, coming off a loss against the Dolphins. I don't know. I think the Panthers are just a slightly better version of this Dolphins team. Mobile quarterback, can make a lot of plays. Is going to cause some turnovers too. They got but the big factor that I think they have over the Dolphins is Christian McCaffrey, obviously, who's one of, if not the best running backs in the game, compared to Myles Gaskin, who, really can't fill those shoes. Comparable wide receivers like for the Dolphins with guys like Waddle and Gesicki, but I much rather have DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson out there. And then on the defense, they got a decent front seven. The Panthers have a much better front seven than the Dolphins. And then playmaking quarterbacks, when you think of guys like Xavier Howard for the Dolphins, and then Stephon Gilmore for the Panthers. Very similar teams. I'm going to give the edge to the Panthers because of the fact that, again, I think they're very similar in a lot of aspects, but a better defensive front seven that'll probably stop the run game and get after the quarterback a little bit more. But then Christian McCaffrey, too, always adds a wrinkle. That's just how do you game plan for that guy? So I think that the Panthers -1 here in a game that I don't advise you put too much stock in. Any game that's a coin flip like this, you never know what's going to happen. Either of these teams could easily win this game by double digits, but you never know. So I'll take the Panthers, give them a little bit edge just because they have a few more X factor players on both sides of the ball. Love a good AFC North divisional matchup. Not the only one we're going to have this week. They're always pretty entertaining games, usually pretty close despite the records and despite the personnel. So if I lean to one side, I'd probably say the Steelers plus 3.5. If you listen to my bets last week, we took the Steelers spread because they have just certain intangibles that they've had for the past decade or so and even longer, which is just good coaching, a savvy quarterback in Big Ben, a solid defense, and the ability to get after the quarterback. If you have those things, like the Steelers do, you have the ability to stay and compete within any game. You saw it against the Chargers. They were down 17 in the fourth quarter, and then they had a chance to win that game at the end if their defense held up. This is a team that has the ability to stay and compete with any other team, despite their lack of talent in a lot of areas, but just good coaching and savvy play by their offense usually keeps them in games. I'm thinking this is going to be like a typical AFC North matchup where you get, a lot of hatred, a lot of energy, big physical play, defenses coming and showing up, and then you're going to get the under in this game. I think I like the Bengals here to win the game. But like I said, don't ever discount the Steelers in any game because they have the pieces in place to always compete. But I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Bengals, who are vying for a playoff spot and possibly a division title if the Ravens can slip up a little bit with Lamar Jackson's illnesses. So the Vikings are going to San Francisco in our next game we're going to talk about. And I really like what I saw out of the Vikings against the Packers, who have a really good defense this year. They're like third in the league in a lot of categories. I'm not reading too much into the 49ers beating the Rams because I think that was a huge emotional win at home coming off a bad loss against the Cardinals. And then I'm also not reading too much into their win against the Jaguars because, let's face it, the Jaguars are a terrible football team. I think that both these teams have a reason to compete. They're still trying to get into the playoffs and still trying to sneak in that wild card spot, especially with how competitive it is in the NFC West for the 49ers. But I really like the Vikings. I just love how much talent they have in offense. Justin Jefferson is just such an incredible talent. Adam Thielen, great red zone target, and Dalvin Cook is so scary out of the backfield. I think the Vikings are going to win this game. I think they're going to keep it going. They had a heartbreaking loss against the Ravens, and then they beat the Chargers, who are a pretty solid team, and then they beat the Packers. So this team's moving in the right directions. I know you could say the same thing about the 49ers, but their quality of games and their quality of opponents the last few weeks haven't matched up, in my opinion, to the Vikings. I think they have a lot of talent on offense, especially. And I think that with that talent, I think they're going to be able to beat the 49ers here. Another game this week that's supposed to be a coin flip game, decided by 1 point. A lot of close games this week, but this one should be a pretty good one with the Rams heading to Green Bay, two teams that are fighting for possibly the number one seed in the NFC, and two of my favorite teams in the NFC to be Super Bowl contenders. Big thing here is Aaron Rodgers battling that turf toe injury, I believe, after Sunday's game. That's been lingering for a while, and that's probably it has to hamper him in some way, but he's more superhuman than almost any quarterback I've ever seen. If he's going to find a way to play and excel, he will do it. But something to keep an eye on. And probably an even bigger deal here is their left tackle of the Packers got injured and is out for the season now. He was already the backup left tackle that was replacing all-pro tackle David Bakhtiari, who's one of the best in the game. So they're going to be really short-staffed at O-line, especially that left tackle position. The Rams have one of the best D-lines, the best D-line in football with pass rushers Aaron Donald, Von Miller now, and Leonard Floyd. If Aaron Rodgers is going to be hobbled with that turf toe and that D-line or that O-line is going to have trouble handling that Rams D-line, I think I like the Rams to win here, especially reeling off a couple bad losses. It's their time to step it up and prove that they're here to stay in the NFC. So I think you add the fact that Rodgers is hobbled and their O-line is downgraded against this incredible Rams defense. Jalen Ramsey, too, always a threat to limit Davante Adams the best that he can, best that anybody can in this league. So for that reason, I think the Rams are going to win this game in a bounce back win against an injured and hobbled Green Bay Packers team. Another good divisional matchup. They almost always are in the AFC West with the Chargers playing the Broncos, who are coming off a bye week. Chargers, I don't know. Can you say it's a good win against the Steelers? They were up by a lot and they blew the lead at the end in typical Chargers fashion, but then they came back and won the game. Something they have been able to do with Justin Herbert, but that defense lets up a lot of fourth quarter leads. I think, in my perspective, is this: Chargers just came off a really physical, long game against the Steelers. Broncos coming off a bye week, getting healthier, stud receiving core, solid defense, especially in the secondary. Divisional matchup, divisional rivalry at home. I like the Broncos plus 2.5 here. If you had to make me choose who's going to win this game, sure, I'd pick the Chargers, but I think 2.5 is a good number to have just because I think it's going to be a really close game, as they almost always are against these two teams. So I'm leaning Broncos 2.5. But if I had to bet, how can you not pick Justin Herbert? He's been looking unreal all year. I think that he's going to give them the edge to probably make a fourth quarter comeback win for that Chargers team this game. This game, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, I thought would be an incredible game on this Week 12 matchup with the Ravens hosting the Browns. But I really do think that if Lamar Jackson can shake off his illness and be healthy, that the Ravens are probably going to run away with this game. And not even because of how skilled they are, but it's really because Baker Mayfield is playing through a lot of injuries. He's playing through so much pain right now, and he's just not like himself. Missing throws that, he's not normally going to miss. Missing throws that an average quarterback wouldn't even miss. So the Browns just can't rely on their O-line and Nick Chubb to win this game for them, especially against a Ravens defense, which got a pretty stout front seven. I just think, the X factor that Lamar Jackson brings is going to be too much for this Browns defense, despite all the talent they have on the defense side of the football. It all comes down to the fact that Baker Mayfield isn't healthy. I don't think this Browns team with a hobbled quarterback or a backup quarterback, if Mayfield doesn't play, is good enough to beat this Ravens team, especially Lamar Jackson's playing. But I said it for the other AFC matchup. I really like the under this game for the fact that I don't think the Browns are putting up much points. They only put up 13 points against the Lions defense, who are terrible. And then I think that the Browns defense is good enough, being a divisional opponent too, with heightened emotions. They're going to step up a little bit to do what they can to limit the Ravens offense, especially if Lamar Jackson's still reeling from an illness, but playing through that. He might not be himself. I'm not anticipating a lot of points this game. Ravens win this one. Might be closer than you think, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of points this game. Another game, the theme of this video, decided by one point, could go either way. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, who just lost to the Cardinals, taking on the Washington football team, who had a pretty good win on the road against the Panthers. Not much I could say about this game. Two defenses that are pretty subpar. At the end of the day, like I said, coin flip game could go either way. In a coin flip game, who are you going to take? Who am I going to take? Russell Wilson or Taylor Heineke? Give me Russ all day. Give me DK Metcalf. Give me Tyler Lockett. I love Terry McLaurin in this Washington football offense, but that's about all I love in this team. So just because it's supposed to be so close, I'm taking Russell Wilson. You got to think he steps up, bounces back from injury pretty soon. Russ seems to always have that ability to pull something out of his pocket, make some magic happen. I think it's going to be this game, especially when I've watched the Washington football team play. They haven't really been able to get a great pass rush outside of maybe Montez Sweat. So without Chase Young, without a great pass rush, you're going to give Russell Wilson time. He's going to pick you apart. I think that's what's going to happen in this game as the Seahawks win this game. But it's good. It's something to note that this is one of those body clock games where the Seahawks are traveling all the way from the West Coast to the other coast of the East. They're playing at 10 o'clock their body time, 1 o'clock Washington football time. So something to note, but it didn't matter for the 49ers when they played the Jaguars. I don't think it's going to matter for the Seahawks when they play Washington. So I'm taking Seahawks money line here when Russ and the boys in Seattle step it back up here to get a much needed win. So I'll take you through here. I know I talked a lot about a lot of bets, whether they be over, under, money line, or spread. I'm just going to tell you who I think is going to win this game outright here in case you're in any confidence leagues or just trying to get a gauge of who you think is going to win. If Jared Goff plays, which is a big if, I like the Lions here to get their first win this season. Again, I didn't talk about these first three games because they're in the Thanksgiving Day preview video that I have that you can check out later. I think the Cowboys will win against the Raiders, but I think it's going to be closer than you think with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb probably not going to play that game. It's going to be a tough win for the Cowboys, but they definitely need it after that loss against the Chiefs. I think they get it done at home on their Thanksgiving tradition. Then the Bills, I like them to beat the Saints. I just think Josh Allen gets back on track in this team, especially with how poor the Saints have looked on offense without Alvin Kamara, who really is the engine for that whole team and that offense. Patriots, I think, are going to dominate the Texans with their great defense and just steady play from Mac Jones, honestly. He's looked really good and really been playing within himself in that offense recently. Texans win this game because who knows why. This is going to be a terrible game. Give me Tyrod Taylor over Joe Flacco. Maybe make a couple of runs with his feet, extend the play, and that might be the difference to get the win. Giants are due for a win. I know the Eagles are hot, but every now and then Daniel Jones has an incredible game and makes you think that, is this guy actually good? This is going to be one of those games. Buccaneers, Tom Brady and this team that they brought everyone back from the Super Bowl are going to do the same thing they did last year and start getting hot at the end of the season and really start getting a roll. It's going to start by being a pretty good Colts team to get their confidence back up after this win against the Giants. And then I'm taking the Falcons against the Jaguars, two bad teams. Only justification I have for the Falcons if they're coming off a long week, and maybe, that's going to do something for them. I don't know, and I really don't care about this game too much. Okay, and the other ones, I think the Panthers are going to beat the Dolphins for the fact that I think they just have a slight upgrade at most positions, maybe quarterback, slightly lower Cam Newton, but he's also got an X factor with his legs more so than Tua, I believe. And then Christian McCaffrey, you got him in your team. Take him if it's a coin flip game because he can make, an average play, break it out for 80 yards and touchdown at any moment. I think the Broncos are going to cover. And then I said maybe they pick the Chargers. I'm signing the Broncos. I just think that their wide receiver corps is so impressive. Their defense to me is so impressive. Coming off a bye, again, Chargers physical game against the Steelers. I think the Broncos, it's going to be a really close game against divisional opponents at home. I always love, especially in a really tight divisional game, I'll take the home team to win the game more often than not, and that's what I'm going to do here, especially because they're coming off a bye. The Vikings, I think they're starting to roll. Really, their offense is really starting to click. I don't know how you stop Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Adam Thielen. The Niners are going to have their hands full with them. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, quite honestly, but I think the Vikings are going to come out victorious. The Rams here, the fact that they need a bounce-back win, also for the fact that the Packers left tackle and Aaron Rodgers are now – left tackle out, Aaron Rodgers hobbled against that incredible pass rush the Rams have. I think they're going to make Aaron Rodgers be running for his life on that bad foot and bad toe. I think it's going to be tough for him, and that's going to make all the difference for the Rams to get the win this game. Bengals here against the Steelers who, like I said, they seem to compete, but at the end of the day, I don't think they have enough offensive firepower to match up with the Bengals and what they've got, who had a pretty impressive win against the Raiders. So give me the Bengals this game. The Ravens, if especially Lamar Jackson is back and healthy, recovering from that illness, it's more so about Baker Mayfield, the Browns quarterback, being so injured and just not like himself right now. Hard to win a game against a good team like the Ravens without solid quarterback play. And in Seattle, speaking of solid quarterback play, I think Russell Wilson gets back on track this weekend, gets the Seahawks a much-needed win against the Washington football team, who I don't think is very good. Those are the games I got this week. If you enjoyed the video and the extensive analysis, please like the video, subscribe so you can keep getting this stuff week in and week out. Let me know in the comment section what you think, what games you're picking. If you disagree with me, what bets you're taking, anything and everything. I love hearing from you guys. Make sure you hit the comment section. That's the best part of me making these videos. Again, like and subscribe if you can, and best of luck, and enjoy Thanksgiving and NFL Week 12.